What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Low Five Gaming. Welcome back. If this is your first time listening, fucking sweet. Glad to have you. My name is Alex, and this is my co-host and brother Luke.
Hello. Shouts out to the old millennials. Alex got a game selection for you. Old
Sure
millennials,
do.
young Gen Z or Gen X. What's up? Old millennials, young Gen X. What's up? We got a game for you.
Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, bro.
Yes, sir.
So this game, I've been wanting to play it for a while. I picked it up a long time ago, and I've got all three games in this series, and I've been meaning to tackle them, and I want to do this one first because it dropped first. And I will just come out and say it right now, as I am fully aware of how niche this game is.
Well, it's like I make the old millennial young Gen X joke because it's a callback to a woebegone era of gaming, or a far away era of gaming. So it's very delicately made for a very specific group of people.
Right. So if you're someone that's like, fuck, man, I wish they'd just bring out a new Castlevania game for me. Well, Bloodstained is your game.
A new old Castlevania game for me.
Yeah,
I don't want that newfangled
totally.
3D nonsense. I want
So
all the old
Bloodstained,
sprites.
dude. This is like a really interesting game. So Bloodstained, you might have heard of Ritual of the Night. So that one, I'm a little disappointed I didn't just have us play that. Not really, because I enjoyed this, but
Yeah,
Ritual of the Night is like way more. So as far as you've got your Metroidvanias, right? So it's like kind of a mesh of the Castlevania Metroid genres, correct?
sure.
So the game we played, Curse of the Moon, is very much in line with the Castlevania part of the Metroidvanias, whereas Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is very much in line with your Metroids. So I started dabbling in that a little bit, as a big Metroid stan myself. I was like, maybe I should have had folks play this one. But, I'm happy to be able to have knocked this one off the list.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, for me, who's not, I'm into like the newer interpretations on the genre. So like it's kind of fun to be taken back to the roots, even though it's a new game. It's like 100% styled in the super old school Castlevania. Ace's dad had like an old laptop that we played on, and it had the original Castlevania. So like I have some super foggy memory of playing like black and white Castlevania. So it was like kind of funny
Right,
to be.
we got to
We
get
liked it, even though
we got to
we
get Ace in
sucked
the
at it.
pod one of these days, dude. He's
No,
like, we
he's
call him
just
out
gonna
all the
get
time.
referenced. Yeah, Tyler as well. Tyler and Ace can have their moment in the sun. Yeah. So yeah, we played it a bunch, even though we sucked at it, and I kind of felt the same. Like I'm better at games now, but I'm like, man, it's not too hard. The bosses are pretty tough. We can get into all that later, but the aesthetics, man, it's all about the aesthetics. It was really
Dude,
cool.
at face value, this game is pretty darn difficult. But then when you start to learn it, dude, it becomes like a lot easier. It opens up, and it's all about pattern learning, and that is a big part of Metroidvanias is just learning enemy and boss patterns and level patterns in this case.
Yeah.
If you don't have the patience, or if that's not something for you, you're gonna fucking hate this game. Did you beat it, dude? Did you end up beating the final boss?
Yeah, dude, totally. I nailed it. Crushed it so hard.
Did you really?
No, I quit.
Ha
I told you, I don't even think I got to the final boss. I got to that one on top of the ship where the wind was blowing, and I was like, I have no patience for this. I loved the game at the price I got it at, and like picking it up and like derping around a level and hearing the music and the sound effects, but like was not down to just straight up grind out some of the bosses.
Dude, all you
Like,
got to do is learn their tells, and then they become really easy.
yeah. So, and it's like, I can see myself picking it up because like the dragon boss was like really gnarly for me at first, but like I enjoyed beating that.
Dude, the boss
But yeah.
animations were like a huge highlight of this game for me. They just
Yeah.
like the whole like all the levels and stuff are fine. They're pretty cool, but the actual like bosses, it's fun. I mean, it's in that 8-bit style, so it's not crazy, but it's they definitely
I
had
feel
some
like the
fun with it.
bosses did look crazy. Like they had, like, let's say they had a budget. 40% of this budget went to the music, 50% went to the bosses, and the rest is for the other parts of the game. Like the bosses and the music like absolutely slap in this game, and then the rest of it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It took me a while to get used to it. So you start with your first character, your main character. What's his name? Zangetsu or something like that. Does that sound right?
Not guy from Castlevania, you mean?
Yeah, that's another thing. So
Legally distinct. What's his name from Castlevania? Like
right.
legally distinct. Yeah.
I guess it's worth mentioning then. So this came in 2018, right? So it's relatively new, but like you said, it's kind of made in the style of Castlevania of old, especially the first 3 Castlevania games. So Castlevania games evolved over time as well, but like this is really a throwback to the original 3 Castlevania games, which like, so I love Metroidvanias. I always say that, and like I've dabbled in some of the Castlevanias, but but to be honest, like I play more Metroid stuff than
Sure.
Castlevania. And like those games aren't super like, how many if you're a masochist, sure, or if you like really love the genre, like you'll go back and play those, but like they're not super approachable. Like the first couple of Castlevanias are fucking hard, dude. And
I feel
like
like you'd
so
go back if you liked like the vibes, like if you like vampire kind of dark gothic shit. I feel like
right.
whenever I saw the Bloodstained, like the more higher end one you were talking about earlier, I was always like, that's for a specific group of people who love those vibes of that
Dude,
shit, which is
I was
dope.
trying to
The
I was
anime
trying
slaps, so
I was trying to
whatever.
dig it out, dude, but there's like I was somewhere on Metacritic, I was reading this review, and it straight up says like this game hits a very specific niche and it's going to be great for folks. But it scores well on Metacritic, like because people
Yeah.
that like this game, like really fucking like this game. It's just not for everybody. Like this genre is a tough genre. It can be rewarding, but it's also super frustrating.
Well, with like indie games, there's been like a boon of like the super polished versions of your childhood
Right.
favorites, and this fits into that. So if someone loved, as you said, if you've been looking for Castlevania, but not that 3D newfangled
Yeah.
shit, if you've been looking for
Yeah.
that for 20 years, this is it. So like I like them. A game I've played a ton of, and I tried to get you to play over the time is Shovel Knight.
I'm just waiting for you to make it one of our games of the month.
Might have to. I got like deep Shovel Knight vibes, which is like it's a prettier, glossier, more in depth version of this game.
Okay.
I'd say this game was like more bite sized, which was cool actually. I very much appreciated just tackling a level and playing it for 10, 15 minutes and being done.
Yeah, it takes about
Um,
4 hours, maybe even less, 3 hours to beat the game all the way through. So,
yeah. So who's the homie on the Discord? He had an excellent quote on like
Dave probably Dave from Tales from the Backlog, because he
indeed.
played with
So
it. Played a little bit of this when we announced the game. I
yeah.
think he rage
So
quit.
he did. Shouts out to rage quitting. I got a little further before I rage quit, but I did eventually. No, he said that Shovel Knight's the way you think you remember these
Oh
games being.
yeah,
And then he goes,
let's pull that up.
Bloodstain is actually how it is.
Yeah, right. And he's like, "Fuck that shit."
Yeah, it's like when the nostalgia sheen wears off, it's like the true reality of what it was actually like is Bloodstain. And I thought that was pretty funny, even though I'm a younger millennial, not whatever. So
Luke
like I
always
don't
out here
have
trying to age us.
man, 6 years makes a difference. You ran into games like this, whereas like I when I played that Castlevania I was talking about earlier, like it was super old even then. So like we knew what we were getting into, but like yeah, I don't know. When you're talking nostalgia, it's important to benchmark when you had your youths because you're gonna have more tolerance and patience for a game like this because it's gonna bring you back to playing on the couch with the plastic covers, which is I'm assuming how you play these games, old people.
I'm just going to continue to really derail us and say that I haven't played a bunch of the Castlevania games. I've definitely dabbled in a bunch of them, but
You own them
fucking
all though. What
animated.
are you
I
talking
do.
about?
That's what I mean. Like I've played like the first couple levels in most of them. I've gotten deeper into the Game Boy Advance ones than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Those ones are really well done. But what I really love about Castlevania is that fucking Netflix show, dude. That's
Dude,
what really pulled me into that whole fucking, I don't know,
we can't
story.
we can't call it anime because it's made in a Western studio, but
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
no, dude, the detail that goes into that show. So when you have a tower, when you
Mhm.
build a tower and a spiral staircase going up the tower, you have the handrail on a certain side. So if someone was running up the tower, their right hand is blocked by the wall because then it's harder for them to fight against you. Whereas you, the defender, can swing openly because that's the rail side on the right hand side. Are we
Yeah,
following? In
sure.
the anime is so
Okay.
detailed that when the secret library that's built underground,
Yeah.
that's flipped. So
Oh,
better
interesting.
better defend from up down going up. So like
Oh.
the nitty gritty that goes into that anime, plus like people out here, they're like, I'm just here to watch like bisexual vampires. Like we're
Yeah,
not
well,
here
me
for
too. Action, that
that's
shit's cool too. Fuck.
no, that's my favorite anime. It's right up there with Cowboy Bebop 1 or 2.
There's that.
I don't even know.
I can't remember any of the names of
I'm
those
such a
dudes either.
casual. I'm such a casual, but like those are my two favorite animes ever, and it's not even close.
Dude, I was tearing through the I don't remember what season it is for sure. It might be the end of season 1, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever. But there's I can't remember any of the people's names either, but there's the
Great
Dracula's
podcasting material.
yeah, right. So Dracula's son though, right? So the half vampire or whatever.
Yup.
He's got the two trainees and they end up having a threesome.
Definitely remember that.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Super
like,
hot.
so my wife
Betrayal.
comes in. I've been watching all this shit, and there's like, it's just hilarious that she walks in like, wow, there's like a threesome's going down. She's like,
Yeah.
whoa, and I was like, yeah, there's some other shit going on too.
She's like, you make fun of me for my romance watching
Yeah,
proclivities.
right on. But we didn't. This isn't
Yeah.
even a Castlevania game, so like, I mean, so Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, dude, spin off of Castlevania, basically though. So like, what,
Legally
like this,
distinct Castlevania. That's how the
right?
name is. It's just that's what the game should be named is Bloodstained Legally Distinct Castlevania.
So this particular game though, Curse of the Moon, was actually so Ritual of the Night was announced and they did a Kickstarter campaign for it. And Curse of the Blood Moon or Curse of the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is a stretch goal for their Kickstarter. And that's why it's like shorter and it's supposed to be like a prequel companion story to Ritual of the Night.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. And
more parallels to Shovel Knight in these kickstarted games, my dude.
Yeah. And it does so like this game follows Zangetsu, I believe his name is, and it's one of those things where so the second one, Ritual of the Night, they actually say some of these names out loud, but I'm still gonna butcher them. But
I just love when you get new characters introduced and he goes, I don't know if I can trust you, but it supports the ends to my means.
Do you know what's really interesting? And I didn't do this is when you unlock 3 different other characters, right?
Which is a cool gimmick, yeah.
Right. And but you can choose not to take them into your party. Did you know
really?
that?
No.
Yeah. So it actually affects the end game. So like obviously I was like, yeah, fuck, let's go. But if you choose not to, you can like just rock with Zangetsu the whole time, and that will give you a different ending. Or you can choose to pick up, whatever members of the party, and you can choose just not to give them, and that will also affect the end game, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, we should probably stop talking about Castlevania anime and briefly explain that in this game, you collect these characters along the way and you get a party in the sense where I actually really liked that. I don't want to call it a gimmick. I'll just say like mechanic of it. Like, I feel like that was kind of unique. I don't know if I've noticed that in any other games of this style. Like, I know you could play as like different characters within Castlevania, like Richter or whatever, instead of, I can't think of main characters.
I want to say Castlevania 3 has a very similar system.
So you're not playing them at the same time, but you hit one of the bumpers and it switches over and they have like a different base attack. They have a different special. And like throughout the levels, you can, which is very much like a Castlevania thing. Like you can, you hit the candles down or whatever, the lanterns, and you can get different special attacks.
Right.
Like one at a time. So all the different characters have different special attacks available to them. That can give you different access to different areas of each map. So there's like really cool replayability. Like I liked the whip lady. That sounds more fetishy than I wanted it to, but
Miriam, I want to say her name is.
Given the graphics, it's I'm sure someone back in the day was, oh my god, she's probably so hot. But
dude, yeah. So like she's the main character that you start off with in Ritual of the Night, and they've like really gone full anime with that one. So she is
ginormous boobs and some 12-inch heels as she runs
fully
around.
tatted.
Yeah. Okay.
It's worth mentioning, dude, that so the producer of this game, Koji Igarashi. All right.
Okay.
And he is the producer of the Castlevania series. So like that's why you get so many similarities. It's the same producer. For whatever reason, like I don't know. I didn't get too into the weeds on this. I'm pretty sure there's this like a licensing thing or whatever. And I don't know. Like if you talk to Castlevania stands, they are like, why can't we get a new game? I think it's all tied up in some politics. And that's one of the reasons why he went out and did this.
That makes sense as far as like the Kickstarter stuff. Like,
right.
I know for better and for worse, there's usually people attached to the old, like the big bad example is like the original people behind like Mega Man did like an uber successful Kickstarter, and I forget what the name of the legally distinct Mega Man that they came out with was, but it was like a huge flop, like not as promised. It's like it's like the opposite of a Kickstarter success story. It's like one of the pitfalls or red herrings or whatever you'd call like the bad examples. So yeah, that would make sense that like one of the original dudes is behind it. So yeah, the different characters, super cool. I love the long whip. Who's your favorite person to play as? I saw in the screenshot of the final boss, you were playing as the old man dude.
Yeah, that might have been because, so part of this game, and this is again just going totally off the rails, but every single boss has like a self-destruct. So when you beat the boss, they still hit you or like try and hit you with like one last hit. So whenever I'm playing a boss, I always try and like hit the bumpers to the character that has the most health, just because like I'm just trying not to die after I fucking take down the boss. So I'm not sure. He also
has that sick fire wheel that protects you. I really like
that. Shit is his best. dude, that's his by far. I mean,
But
he's
it's
got some cool
balanced pretty
magic
nice
spells, but
because
that
he's
one is
got the
nice.
super short rod of attack. So like it's a nice balance of like you can get right up
Yes.
next to a person with some defense, but also like you gotta be like and it's super annoying when you're like when your
That
enemy
spell in
has any amount
particular,
of reach. Yeah.
that spell in particular too, you can cast it and then you can hit the bumper and it transfers to the next player. So I don't know if
I
you
noticed
noticed
that
that.
way too late. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
oh
key, dude.
man.
It's like really, really helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think that so Zangetsu, this is the dude with the sword, you like main starter character. Miriam is the chick with the whip that you were talking about. Then you got Alfred, who is the wizard, and then Gebel, something like that, is like kind of your like half vampire dude. If you get really into the lore, which we don't really need to get super into the lore on Bloodstained, but Miriam and Gebel are brother and sister, and had all these weird like experiments done to them, very like Witcher-esque style.
Okay.
In the second game in Ritual of the Night, there's like these shards that you collect, and basically it makes them stronger. And Gebel is actually the main bad guy in that one, which is kind of interesting. So this like I'm not sure where exactly. I think this is a prequel, or it's just like set off in a totally different timeline. Not entirely sure. It's
Sure.
like you can get into the weeds on this shit, but I'm not sure any of it really matters. And by not sure, I mean it doesn't fucking matter at all. But that's also very Castlevania of it, you know?
Yeah, I didn't pay any attention when they're like, we need to do this. And I'm like, demons, got it. Killing
Right.
things, got a sword,
So,
tight. Guy
but I guess
turns into a
to
bat. He's clearly a vampire.
yeah, right. But to go back to your question, my favorite, it's Miriam, dude. Like that whip is pretty much like the Donatello of this game, right? So you got like extra reach. It's like pretty powerful.
The noob stick.
Yeah, right. And so
That's
yeah, I
true though.
used her a bunch. It's
I
interesting
like the
too.
vampire guy because he had that up attack, and like a lot of
Yeah.
enemies jump at you or do like a little swerve up and down thing, and
Yep.
it's like you didn't have to think as much. You're just like, bah, and you can just
Totally.
spray with him.
Which can be a little tricky
That's
though
tight.
if you have an enemy on the ground because he has to be
Yes, sir.
underneath them.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know this game. Like as I got better at this game, like I got a lot better at switching to the characters to help me like figure out whatever I needed to beat in that level, right? So like you start to adapt to the levels better by switching your characters around, which is pretty cool. Like you gotta really like lean into that mechanic to make this game doable.
One thing I wish I could remember in the moment, because I'm a hack. I go in like a moron and I don't want to think about stuff sometimes. And like
Mm-hmm.
if your character's about to die and you just switch to the party, when you die, it's not like your party member jumps in. You gotta like start back from a checkpoint, which is
Yeah,
frustrating.
that
So
part
like
is kind of shitty.
if you flip back and forth really quick, like you can last way longer. So I wish I would have remembered that any
Mm-hmm.
time that I was playing, but I was just too busy being like dun, 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 dun. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that reminds me, dude. So like, there's two versions or two difficulty levels you can play this game in. So you've got casual and veteran. And anybody
Having
playing
fun,
veteran,
and I don't
yeah,
have something to do today. Yeah, continue.
dude, anybody playing veteran is truly a masochist. Like it's just like impossible. I don't know
I
how
think I
anybody's
beat the
taking this
first
game.
level and I was like, wow, this is clearly the way to play
Yeah,
it. And then I got like
yeah.
2 minutes into the next level. I was like, this sucks.
Oh man, I mean, it made a little bit more sense to me after I beat this game and I started playing Nightmare Mode, which is basically the new game plus version of this or whatever. In veteran mode, you get a certain amount of lives, okay? And then if all of your characters die, you lose that life, and you also get knocked back by enemies. So if you're struck by an enemy, you like are basically stunned, which is makes it pretty darn difficult, and it's a very Castlevania thing. So if you do casual, you get infinite lives, and you don't get knocked back when you're struck, which makes the game way more approachable. And also, like, dude, there's no way I could have taken down the final boss without infinite lives. Like,
Yeah.
like the only way, and like the thing is, and as I beat this and like continue to play it, like you learn the tells and like the patterns. I guess if you understood the whole game and you had played it through, then yeah, sure, you probably take it as veteran. But like anybody just approaching this game, get ready to put in hours and hours and hours of learning this. So like, just play casual.
Yeah. I get that if we were back in the late 80s, where like that was my cool Castlevania game. Whereas like
Right.
now you buy it as an experience and it's like I have so many other games to play that I'm not trying to grind and learn this
Right.
specific little game. So like I play this for a little quick dance. I'm not here to I'm not here to master and route out these, but I can see like back in the day, like with this style of game, how like you wanted to get extra mileage and like this was the really cool top of the line game you had at the time. So I can totally see that.
But this
But
game came out in
for the
2018,
literal,
so
yeah, well,
it's
for the
like, fuck that
literal
shit.
veterans,
Yeah,
for the literal
right.
veterans of the genre, though, they probably would have been furious if it was too easy, you know. So
Totally.
this is for the diehards. So I like that casuals in there because it should just be labeled like, "Would you like to have fun?"
Yeah, right.
And like, "Did you really love it?" That's what veterans should be like. "Did you really love it?" Try it again with some more challenge.
So you didn't get to see this, but when you beat the
We
final
talk
boss and
about
you
it. I
unlock,
totally beat the game when you talk about it.
you're never gonna get that
I,
capital G back.
I totally saw this. What are you talking about? It's my
Dude,
long
the last
honored
boss,
tradition of not beating any of the Metroidvanias.
dude, you
That
know,
you
only
pick in this spot.
do you know
Going
it's
back to Super Metroid.
you know what you'll appreciate, dude, is that the final boss has two stages, like two phases, like very reminiscent of it's not like crazy in this genre, but it reminded me of when we were playing Ocarina of Time, and how Ganon has two phases, and it kept fucking me up on the second phase right before the podcast.
Like you didn't beat that before you hit puberty, but as a grown ass man,
Right,
you just
right. Well,
couldn't manage.
upon my return, dude, well, I have you like hanging over my shoulder and shit, and I was nervous. Oh man.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, there's two phases, and like it's once you figure out like how to approach it, it's not too big of a deal. But oh man, like anytime there's a boss battle with two phases, it's always such a kick in the balls when you like take down the first part, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, the hard part hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. Yeah. As we wrap up, there's the pros and the cons. I can hit this pretty quickly. The pros is it's like a total vibe. The music slaps. The music and the sound effects are like most of the fun I had in this game. And then when
Sure.
I had the patience to beat the boss, I thought it was awesome. They're really cool. They're really fun. It's rare that I take screenshots in games, but like
Sure.
this game got a handful of screenshots, and I was like, this is super cool.
Dude.
Some quick cons is that it's not the deepest experience, and that's like kind of on purpose even
Yeah,
though we
it's like
just
a
talked
teaser
about how
game.
you could, yeah, and it's just like it's a fun experience. So I'll give my finishing thoughts on that when we get into the would you recommend this. But what do you think? What are your pros and cons? What are your loves, didn't likes, however you want to phrase it?
I think it's a great nod to the genre, right? Like I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's for folks that love Castlevania, especially the older ones. Like it's a super cool spiritual successor, if you will. Like it's
Yep.
we mentioned it earlier, but the boss battles, man, they're dope. Like it's a very once you learn their tells, they become easier, but they're pretty tough. And then the new game plus mode that I mentioned, Nightmare mode, you play everybody again, only you do it with your party of three. So you lose, like, I'm not going to go super into it because you didn't beat it and I don't want to give too many spoilers. Not that that matters too much, but you only go back with three in your party. All the bosses have like a little thing extra, right? Which is kind of fun. Yeah. So it's like basically it's like, oh, this will be easy. And it is easier because you've learned all their tells, but everyone has like an extra thing. And you're like, oh shit, now I got to learn that.
Sure.
So that's a cool like twist,
Yeah.
and it like continues the story, and it's like a really cool angle on the whole new game plus thing. But the bosses though, dude, like the bosses are super cool. The animations are fun. Like whenever you take them down, there's always like a little like quote unquote cutscene,
Yeah.
So it's like there's a cool animation whenever you win. So I think that was really cool. I don't love how, for me, this game is cool, but I can see where like a casual or somebody that's like not super into this genre, it's not super approachable, and I think it's like made that way on purpose. But
it's made for what it's made for. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite boss?
The money guy was the easiest, but I also thought the graphics around him were the coolest.
Yeah,
so that
dude, Valak, that double-headed dragon was pretty dope too. I think you probably did. You play against a vampire lady? I think her name's Bloodless, but she's like starts in a weird bath, and then like she's pretty tough. She's got like umbrellas. You got to jump on the umbrellas.
I don't think so. When's that?
Dude, so there's the boss that you can't beat with that blows the wind around. I'm actually on him in nightmare mode. Then there's the next boss is Bloodless, and then after her, there's another guy named Bathin or something like that. And then Gremmer.
Was there
is
a
the
whole
final
ass
boss.
another level after that?
Dude, there's 8 levels. You're on like level 6.
Oh, okay.
Or
it
like
looked
maybe
on the
even
map
5.
like that was the last level, so I was like, I got to the last levels.
Nah, you're like halfway through.
I'll keep playing.
But yeah, so I mean, I just think that it's like one of those weird things. So like, I really enjoyed the game. That's a strong statement, actually. Like, I like this game a lot, but like, it's not anywhere near my like top tier games. Like, it's fine,
Yeah,
It's what I wanted it to be, more or less. Like, it's but it's not one that I'm like, everybody needs to go out and play this fucking game, which I kind of did for the podcast. But you know, so sorry everybody that had a bad time. But now you know.
Nah, so like before we get to the side quest, and we usually say, would you recommend? And I think the best way to put it is this is an airplane game. This is a weekend game. This is a road trip game. This is a weekend game.
Sure.
Did I say weekend twice? Doesn't matter. This is a like, I am in between games, or I just want like a quick little jaunt. And like when it was on sale, like it was for like $5, it's like, dude, totally send it for $5. And if you're feeling naughty, $10, whatever. But like, it's worth that price. You'll get that much enjoyment from it. And if you have just some time to spend with a game that you don't have to get too invested on, but you can dig the retro vibes and the music, like this is it. So totally. That's kind of how I would summarize my experience. Was like, it wasn't, I mean, clearly I thought I was on the last level, but I was totally noobing it up. It's a little embarrassing, but whatever.
You've got some good battles ahead of you if you do pick this up. There's some fun bosses going on.
And it's a game where I'm gonna find myself with some time somewhere down the road, and I'm gonna be scrolling through my library, and I'll be like, oh man, it's not gonna take me forever to remember these buttons. Like I got this. So like I think that's really cool.
Dog, the final level is by far the toughest one. There's this weird fucking shit. I don't even know what it is. Like if it's bats or wind or whatever, but it scrolls through, dude. Oh man, I can't wait for you to like see that. Just to get really pissed off. It's because like that was like
my Joy-Con drift, or is this difficulty?
Man. No, it's like, so that part of the final level was just grueling, and the boss, like it reminded me, dude. It's funny because like the last boss in particular really reminded me of some of my struggles during, quote unquote struggles, but like remember playing Metroid Dread, and like you really have to learn everything that they're like the bosses are doing to be able to beat them.
Yeah, it's a dance.
Yeah, and I died way more times in Dread than I did in this game, but I figured out, because I'm playing casual, I also figured out ways to cheese it, dude. So like when you lose a character, like you were saying earlier, you go back with the remaining characters in your party. But if you are on casual, you have infinite lives. So what I started doing, especially versus the last boss, is if I lost like one of my characters, I would just like run off the cliff with the other 3. Yeah, and then I could return with all 4 and like take advantage of all 4. And that was like made it a lot easier to, because then you can use all 4. You can lean on all 4 of their like attributes to be able to beat the boss. 100%. So that type of thing, and cheesing a little bit to get that win. But I'm all right with that, dude. I'm a fucking casual gamer, so I'm like, I'm ready to do this. Right. If you listen to last month's episode, you'll know that we have no honor. Like we're not straight up putting in codes, but like
we're save scummers. We're save scummers. We're
right on. But no, so I don't know if the question is like, would you recommend this? Like if you are Castlevania curious and you want to play a game that's a little bit more approachable than the original Castlevanias and get that same flavor, totally like send it, dude. But like if that didn't intrigue you at all, just fuck off and don't play this game.
Yeah, if you want some more meat on the bones, get Shovel Knight. The game slaps. So
totally, yeah, I've heard. I mean, dude, I have that game. I'm just looking for an excuse to play it.
Yeah, it's tight, and it has all their characters, but like that are balanced, but not like the interplayability of like interchangeability, perhaps. But being able to do that was like one of the strengths of this game for sure. It's just like there's a lot of balance. It was cool. That's cool.
Right on.
They clearly thought long and hard about this small but pretty awesome experience. So
yeah, I have the second one, and I've started playing Ritual of Night, and like Ritual of Night's like a nod to that, like it's more of the like the 3DS era of Castlevania and Metroid, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Why don't we take a little break and come back with our unstation sponsor? The Daddy X.
Oh, dang. The Xbox boys.
Xbox boys. Oh, dang. Daddy X in the house.
Pretty much side question is going to be that every month. This is how am I taking advantage of Game Pass this month?
Yeah, no shit, right? Game Pass, Xbox.
You're a box boy. Congrats.
Box boy. Thanks, bud. Yeah. The wifey get to be an Xbox. Daddy X. That's what it's named in the household. You name yours?
Yeah, it's Daddy Xbox, I think, or Daddy Box, or it's
Daddy X.
I think it might be the Daddy. Yeah, well, that's confusing. That's what mine's. You stole my Xbox name.
That's what we always refer to it as. So.
Yeah, I don't think we're the only ones.
No, but yeah, no, it's been fun, man. The console wars, they say they're over, but I don't know. Are they?
God, hey man, PlayStation just wants to grow by making Xbox smaller.
I'll tell you what, though.
That's
Unsanctioned
what
sponsor, Microsoft's Daddy X.
right.
Sorry, PlayStation. You should have sent us some money.
Also, Xbox, you could just like give me
Yeah,
a month's
maybe
free of Game Pass
maybe
or
give
something,
us some
man.
free Game Pass Xbox. Fucking A. It is the
Yeah.
best deal in gaming. Isn't that a thing? That's the thing
Yeah,
people
yeah, it
say.
is. Yeah. And they're currently getting sued by the Federal Trade Commission, Xbox, the merger with Activision,
Oh, yeah, that's
which
right.
is kind of funny. If you're gonna try to monopoly bust, like you probably go for someone like Apple or something like that. But yeah, sure. Go for
Dude,
me
Microsoft
and
is a
my
huge company.
Xbox. It
Yeah, Xbox is
is,
such a
but
fraction of Microsoft's like overall like corporation. Like, dude, it's wild. They don't even need to be doing video games at all, but they do.
yeah, I suppose. I just think it's like Phil Spencer literally said like he's just salty that PlayStation's like playing such a dirty game. Like PlayStation is like the king of console exclusives and pettiness of all the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
makers. Like not even Nintendo. Like Nintendo plays nice with the others these days. It's just
Mm.
PlayStation, and like
Not
PlayStation's like
Smash players
clearly
though. Hmm.
oof.
Following that shit.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been salty forever. They got weird PR moves. I'd love to hear what some of their decisions are like. But we're box boys. We might be Nintendo stands, but we're box boys right now. So this is about being box boys.
Right. Get yourself an Xbox.
Get
That's such a
yourself
I can't win good fucking like I can't actually tell people to go out and buy Xboxes. They're
no,
fucking really expensive.
no. Plus, it's like just get whatever you want. Get
True,
yourself
but
the Xbox shaped mini fridge because that's hilarious.
yeah,
Have you seen those?
I have.
Like
There's like a couple sizes of them. They've got like the one that
you're
actually is like the size of a big Xbox, like the Series X, and they've got like one that's like a desktop one. It's ridiculous.
your office could use one. Just keep gamer fuel in it. And just have a drawer dedicated to Cheetos and Doritos, and then have a Xbox fridge full of Mountain
Mm,
Dews.
that sounds glorious.
It doesn't sound bad.
Unsanctioned sponsored. Next gen, current gen. Are they still calling it next gen? It's so
It
garbage. This
shouldn't.
shit's been out for like 4 years.
It's like two, but still
Still.
silly as hell. There's like two exclusive on each console, and it's been a mess. Coronavirus.
Low five Xbox boys.
Box boys. From two PlayStation loyalists who have been transformed because we're tired of waiting for PlayStations.
Pretty much. I got the
Ever since
Xbox.
the two.
I got the Xbox, and now there's like articles that are like PlayStation's available. I was like, fucking whatever.
Whatever, man. I waited long enough.
Daddy X.
Daddy X.
Mhm.
The McRib of gaming. Continue.
You've been side questing, bro. You got some side quests? You got time for side quests?
Well, first of all, big announcement is that I
Ooh.
have now beat Slay the Spire with the Ironclad. I was getting really
Wow.
bored. I'd beat it with the Silent, who's the stabby poison guy, first, a few times actually. And then I beat it with the Defect, who's the robot bro. Or lady. I don't know if the robot needs a gender. But anyway, that was a really cool run that I slayed the Spire. I beat the heart with, which is really hard, by the way. And the game is a rogue-like. It's rogue-like. It has some light rogue-light features where, like, I think you do unlock some cards for future runs, but for the most part, every run is randomized and you run into different stuff. So I've been playing just as the Ironclad to try to beat this main thing, and it's been driving me nuts because you get a little bored of his style. It's nice to switch between the different characters, but I'm trying to beat it with him. So I, zeroed in on him. This is what I do when I'm like holding up a baby or feeding a baby is I would just be playing this in my bed at night. So finally beat it, finally had a run put together that I beat the heart and felt really good and gave myself like a small but intense fist bump before I went to bed. It was pretty sick. I was like, oh yes, and like,
Dude, I don't think I've done like the gamer fist bump or the
ooh,
since
yeah,
probably Metroid Dread, dude. When I took down
oh
one, I
sure,
don't remember if it was like the boss before the final boss or the final boss, but I was so stoked. I was like literally jumped up off the couch, was like woo, and it was like studying at the time. She's like, what the fuck? Like, don't worry
yeah.
about me.
My best was that the Star Wars game, blanking on the name, Fallen Order,
Oh yeah,
which they released a trailer for the second one, which looks sick.
yeah. You
First
got
one,
Cal with that
first
gritty beard coming in.
weird. Oh yeah. The first one's a good game, although flawed, but overall a good game. Souls like Star Wars experience. But Trisha with my wife would just look at me and she'd be like, "Stop kicking me, please," because I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd be like laying my legs and I'd like tense up and like kick her on accident. That's how intense it was getting. And the other games to highlight: Ori and the Blind Forest. Great game. Ori's
You beat
fun.
it?
No, I've slowed down on it. Babies and stuff, and all the other
Mhm.
games I play. But it's like a game that when I pick it up, I really like playing for like a half hour or so, and then I kind of fall out of the mood for it. But then I pick it back up and it's awesome again. That's been sweet. And then lastly, Xbox exclusive from
Ooh.
Obsidian, Pentiment. Pick it up
Oh
on
yeah,
Game
right on.
Pass, dude. It's really cool.
I didn't realize that was an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's on PC because it's Microsoft as well, but I
Mm.
think it might just be Xbox
Some
exclusive.
good chatter out that one. I did download it.
Godless. It's like you're reading a book essentially. It's a murder mystery kind of thing, and I don't think I would have liked this style of game as a kid,
Mm.
but it definitely like it's just like cool, like doing the different dialogue options. Like Obsidian's always been a developer that's been pretty good around that sort of thing as far as Knights of the Old Republic or even one of the Fallout games that they made. So it's cool. You have these different, you're trying to get to the bottom of things, and I'm not super deep into it, but when I catch some time for it, I think it's pretty dope, and it's on my short list of games to have as next month pod, as for good conversation slash an
Right on.
incentive to play more. So there you go, Pentiment.
With that Daddy X in the household, I do have Game Pass again. It's funny if you've been with the pod since the beginning, we were kind of like, oh, Game Pass pretty tight, because I had it on the computer or whatever. And then I cut Game Pass because like, fuck this fucking premium backlog bullshit. I got too many games to play.
Yeah, we were new to PC, so it
Yeah.
gives you instant backlog. Whereas now I
Yes.
buy games on Steam that I'll never play.
Yeah, totally. But now, I've got the first month for $1 or whatever it is to have Ultimate Game Pass on the PC and the Daddy X. And so I've been dabbling, dude. I think the ones that
Power Wash Simulator.
dude, I did fuck with Power Wash Simulator right off the bat. I haven't really picked it up again. I found some other games to really fall into.
Yeah,
But
it's
that was
fun.
it was like it's like a fun one. Just like I did like enjoy my brief time with it.
Sure.
I also bought NBA 2K23, playing ball again, bud.
That's right.
And that's been
right.
fun, dude. I've been doing a playoff run, 7-game series. I think 5-minute quarters with the T Pups. And dog,
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the Timberwolves right now,
dude. I know they in real life they kind of suck, but
oh my god,
I tell you what, man, in 2K they're fucking awesome to play with, man. I haven't had this much playing like with the because I always play as the Timberwolves, and they haven't been fun to play. And granted, it's been I'll go. I think the last what was it 2K 2019 probably was the last one that I picked up, and then Epic gave away like
had it on the Switch as well.
yeah, hey man, whatever. That's the only system I had at the time, and I got it in.
Sure.
And then I want to say that Epic Games gave it away like the maybe 2K20 or something like that. So I played that for on the PC, which was nice. But 23 is great. And I tell you what, the roster we have right now with the Timberwolves, it's super fun to play with in 2K. Real life, not really working out the way that we hoped.
Right.
But for the game though,
Yeah.
dude, oh, it's so fun. You just like throw down with Ant. You got like, dude, you got the two big boys down there like doing work. Like it's great. It's so much fun. And everybody can hit threes. Half the team can hit threes. It's fucking awesome.
Ironically, the problem in real life is they haven't.
Yeah, that's just it, dude. It doesn't reflect what's well, it's just I don't know, whatever.
For the listener base, Alex and I have a long honored tradition of Al getting his absolute ass whooped
Get the
in
fuck outta here.
basketball games.
I mean, yeah.
It's the first game I was able to own him on, and I remember his face being
there
like,
was a shift.
I can't do this anymore. Momentous shift.
Oh man. I'll take you down now though.
Yeah, no doubt.
What
Probably
else
not still. Probably not still, but we'll see.
Dude, I started playing started playing Mass. I'm trying to change the subject because I don't want my pride to get hurt too much.
Sure.
Dog, I started Mass Effect finally, and it hasn't totally grasped me yet. Like I would say I've gotten out of like the kind of tutorial period of it or whatever. So I've got my ship. Have you played this game,
Sure.
Mass Effect?
I played 3, which is
Interesting. Yeah,
a divisive entry. Still considered good, but
sure.
I played 3, which is a weird place to pick it up. But there was a ton of hype around it. That was back in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm starting with the remaster. Like they got the legendary edition or whatever. So I'm playing that a little bit, and it's cool, but it's also like I can just tell. So I finally got command of my ship, and now you can like explore around and kind of choose like how you're gonna approach the story, which is like cool in the concept and everything. And I can understand why people loved it, but I'm like, I don't know if I really want to be exploring like the whole fucking like trying to find like people out in space and shit.
I think the problem when you get all 3 of them at once or have access to all 3 of them at once is it sounds so cool to see it all through. But like if you just had the first game when it came out, or if you just wanted to play the first game, like that 50 hours you're about to invest sounds dope. But like 50 hours into a game that you'd like to play the next 2 sounds daunting and shitty. So
dog, I know. And you know me, like half the reason we played Curse of the Moon is because I wanted to start the series off with the first game. So like here I am playing Mass Effect, and I'm like, it's like it's cool. But so I'm like, I've got into that a little bit. I've actually started playing a bit of the new like Halo Infinite or whatever, and that's like low key pretty fucking tight, dude. Like I'm not a big Halo dude, but that game is fun. It's cool.
You had to have LAN partied back in your college days, right?
High school, actually, bro.
I was about to say, like it was
in college.
It was middle school for me, so I was like, that sounds late for Al, but yeah.
Halo dude, I have some fond memories. One of our listeners, shout out to Chris Madden. He's likely he gives us some listens, man, from South Korea, but he was one of the homies that we would I would get together with, and we do some LAN parties over at Pat Oxley's place back in the high school days. But that was fun, man. People would bring their Xboxes, like the original Xbox, and bring their fucking CRT TVs, and we'd get a couple of different rooms going. Dude, good times.
We had no soda in our house for the local listeners. We had no pap in our house.
Yeah,
like growing up, like it was water, milk, or yogurt juice. But Midwest. How can you tell someone you're from the Midwest without saying you're from the Midwest? I grew up drinking Yojay, yogurt juice. But anyway, so we would have our LAN parties at Jake McKeever's house where there was candy and chips and pop. And no bedtimes, dude. His mom was like, bro, why do I wake up to you puking every time you're here? My guy.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I don't know.
Luke was born to party.
Dude. It's just like when I was a kid going to the old country buffet, and I Ralphed my first 2 times there. You can't give me all this freedom. You can't give me all this freedom.
Dude, I beat Road 96. That game is fucking dope. So cool. That one really great. Like I know
it grabbed you pretty strong. Yeah,
it did.
I liked it, but yeah.
So that's a narrative-based game that actually incorporates like action adventure pretty darn well. It's first person, but that
just like throw weird mini games in there.
Yeah, I appreciated that too. So that got me turned on to the genre a little bit more because I've kind of avoided that type of game. So I've been playing Life is Strange: True Colors, and that's pretty cool. But it has its like shortcomings, but that's been fun too. So I've been playing that, and then another one that I got to throw out there, dude. Vampire Survivors. Can't believe you haven't fucked with this yet. This game is so dope.
I've heard of it, but I don't even think I've looked into it.
I scoffed at the game. Like I knew it was going to be tight, and I don't know. It's like $5.
Dude, I just think you're a vampire. I think you're just a vampire boy. I think that you're probably watching True Blood and other sexy vampire shit when I'm not around. I think you're low key just a vampire boy.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Do you remember back in the day? Do you remember my vampire Halloween outfit? Probably not. Dude, Mom got me this pictures. I had this like fucking gnarly awesome cape, dude. Mom had like this brooch that she put on there and shit, man. Oh man, I was super into vampires for a little bit.
All right, but I didn't get into those movies and stuff. We got ourselves a vampire boy over here. Alex watches all of the what are those?
Dude, I don't watch any of that shit. Vampires have always been cool.
What are those?
But they kind of suck. Like Blade, dude. The movie Blade, fucking dope. That's a dope ass vampire flick.
Al's a big Twilight, bro. That's what I'm trying to get. Yeah. He read all the books. He's an English major, and he'd act all smart, like here's my Hunterish Thompson or my my Kurt Vonnegut, I'm so edgy. And then like underneath the actual book, he just had Twilight, and he's like, Team Edward, Team Edward. Last minute shout outs. Happy birthday, Tyler. It is today, as of recording. Play Hades, you bitch. That's all.
Oh man, hasn't played Hades, and you gave us all that fucking Portal shit.
I know. And Hades, like, he's Enter the Gungeon to the max. Like, that's his, like, he might as well get the marine tattooed onto his fucking butt cheeks. But he'll love Hades. It's like the greatest game ever. So
dude,
play Hades it, you old man. He's like 1,000,000 years old this year, so he should play it. It's tight.
I know I'm playing other stuff, dude. I'm playing a bunch of stuff, but yeah, happy birthday, Tyler. Thanks for hanging with us for another Lo-Fi pod. Check us out on lo5gaming.com. Follow us on the socials. Hit that Discord, folks. Got some cool people in there talking about video games. And that's also, we'll drop notes on our whole adventures like throughout the month on whatever game we're playing. We announce our game in there. We always have a thread talking about, what we're doing, dropping screenshots. And it's always fun when people join in on that. It makes the whole book club-esque experience of this podcast more fun.
All right, good luck to Kirk O'Chains and the boys. Go Vikes. All right, peace.
Oh, dang, Super Bowl bound.
Don't say that shit.
You said it last time.
Yeah, it was a joke. Don't say that shit. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
All right, peace, everybody. Go play Bloodstained, or don't.
Or don't. It's your choice. Hey everybody, I yelled at Alex off the mic that ain't no one that's listening to this podcast was real mad that the Bloodstained plot was spoiled for them. So he's gonna jump back on. He's gonna explain the anime nonsense. What do you got? What happened? What's the spoiler, my dude? Spill them beans.
Yeah, dude. So when you play through the original mode of Bloodstained, you're playing as your 4 characters, right? And then
sword guy, whip lady, wand
right.
guy, Dracula dude.
Miriam, Zangetsu. Come on, man. Didn't you play this game? You don't remember everybody's name? That's not the point here. But when you're playing Zangetsu, so at the end, when you are taking on the final boss, you defeat it, and then Zangetsu, like, this game's crazy, dude. There's multiple endings depending on what you choose to do. So, like, if you're going and progressing along and you don't pick up Miriam, that will change what the end game is. But, why wouldn't you add everybody to your party? So if you got everybody in your party, basically Zangetsu, the main sword guy character, will the main boss turns into this like dark hole, whatever thing, and he goes and blocks it from the rest of the party, right? And he saves the rest of the party, but that corrupts him. And what happens then is the game does end, but then it unlocks nightmare mode. And in nightmare mode, you end up playing as the 3 other characters of your party without Zangetsu. And then instead of the final boss, you're transported to a 9th level. And on the 9th level, you battle the corrupted Zangetsu. And then that's the true ending of the game. So it's kind of cool, man. It's cool how this game that is very like on surface level is not that in-depth or anything, but as you kind of go into it and play more of it, it has this like story that unfolds, and if you do a little interneting, you can get really into it. But it's I just thought that was cool, man, and it's like a cool aspect of this game that you don't always see.
Yeah, that's why I scolded you post-recording. I was like, that's actually kind of a gnarly little thing to include, so you might as well, because I can't imagine anyone being like, bah, I was gonna play this game and then spoiled and got you, sword guy.
Right.
It's been ruined. So whoever's into it already knows. So I think it's dope.